Hello, everybody. Another bonus episode. I thought it might be quite good fun with ABR 24 only a few days away to re-release the conversation we had with Bryn Davis from ABR Magazine a couple of years ago, just to remind ourselves of all the fun things we've got in store for us at the weekend. Both Noel and I are going to be there. Noel's showing a couple of his vintage bikes outside the main hall, and we very much look forward to seeing lots of you there. If not looking at Noel's bikes, then at a bar somewhere, probably. All right, sit back and enjoy this TAMP Podcast Rewind to June 2022.
Hello, and welcome to the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast with me, Clive Barber, and my good mate, Noel Tom. For the days when you can't ride your bike, there's always the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. You lucky people. A bit of a bonus podcast this week. We thought with the Adventure Bike Rider Festival approaching from the weekend beginning the 24th of June, we thought it'd be good to speak to the guys from Adventure Bike Rider and find out what's going on at the festival. So we're delighted to be joined by Bryn Davis, who's the managing editor of ABR. So here we go. Oh, I say Adventure Bike Rider, it's the magazine, it's the festival, but also you have fairly recently started your own podcast as well.
That's right, yeah. So it's, as I said, Adventure Bike Rider, Adventure Bike Rider Magazine, the Adventure Bike Rider Festival, and the ABR Garage, which I think we're on episode 11.
We don't mind a bit of competition in the podcast sphere, do we, Noel?
No, we don't. No, the more the better.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Competition.
Well, it's not, is it? Because when you're into something, if people are doing something on a weekly basis, it's like an hour a week, and if you're commuting, you've got 10 hours in the car potentially to listen to all manner of podcasts. So I tend to listen to quite a variety of them.
But you video your podcast as well, though, do you?
We do, yeah. We in the studio we've got, and yeah, we just thought it was another way of getting it out there, basically. Put it out on Spotify, Apple, Google, and the other audio ways, but then it also works really nicely on YouTube. So, yeah. But the thing with YouTube is you get to see just how much weight you need to lose.
Does it add or take away 10 pounds?
Oh, it definitely adds. Does it? I'd be very upset if it took away 10 pounds.
Well, you can see Noel in the video now. The reason we don't do videos, obviously, is because he's hideously deformed. So the other thing is, not only have they got a podcast, but they're also professional journalists. We're knackered, aren't we?
That begs the question.
I'm professional.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, your role at the ABR organisation and what you write, that type of thing?
I'm Bryn Davis, and I am essentially the managing editor of Adventure Bike Rider Magazine. I edited the magazine from between, I think it was 2014 to, I think 2019, 2020. Dates get a bit fuzzy now with what's happened over the last 2 years. Everything's blended into one. But yeah, so I edited ABR from all the way back then to most recently. And then James Oxley took over from me, and I sort of stepped back to more of a managerial position and took over the marketing of the company and stuff like that. Been involved in ABR since it started, because it was started in 2010 by a guy called Alan, who he's my dad. So I've been involved in ABR since its inception to now, basically. Still do a bit of writing, a bit of riding on the ABR Garage podcast with James regularly, more videos that we do. And right now, I'm riding a Honda NT 1100.
Is that quite a new bike that's come out?
Yeah, the new one for this year that's based on the Africa Twin, but with more road going sort of credentials.
So presumably that's more of a road bike. Do you do trail riding as well?
I used to, and I haven't done for a long while, and there's a good reason for that. Basically, last year, actually near enough to the day last year, I had open heart surgery. I'm now on blood thinning medications, and I probably shouldn't be riding off-road, because if I fall off and hit my head, it's bad.
That reminds me, actually, I've got to go and pick up high pressure tablets from the chemist, which I've not taken for about 2 weeks now. Oh, that's not good.
No, but it's life, isn't it? So I had heart surgery last year, and now my riding is probably going to stay 99% on road. So for me to have the NT 1100, very happy with it, really. Yeah.
So you get this loaner bike for 12 months. Is that how it works? And you sort of commute and use it as much as you possibly can within that period.
Exactly. Yeah. So free is I pay with my time.
Yeah.
So it's very fortunate. I'll never forget how fortunate I am really to be in the position where we get long-term loan bikes off the manufacturers. And for this year, Honda have given us the NT1100 basically to ride back and forth to work, go on trips on, take abroad, do whatever we do on it. And then we report on it in the magazine, on YouTube. And basically across all of our channels, they'll get regular coverage of the long-termers.
And how many other loaners are there within the magazine?
Right now, we're particularly flush. We've got 8, I think. 8.
And do you sort of get to choose one, or do you ever get saddled with one that you didn't really want to take, or? Not
really, no. Because so luckily I get to choose. So I get to decide, but I've never had one that I'm not happy to take, because at the end of the day, it's a free bike.
Yeah. So
I'm more than happy to ride anything, and it's good to try different things. Last year, I didn't have one last year because of my surgery, but the year before I was on the BMW S1000 XR, another definitely predominantly road-based bike, but that was stupidly good fun to ride.
So which has been the hardest one to hand back?
The GS. Yeah. People can hate on the GS and GS riders all they want, but the GS is a cracking bike.
Yeah, it gets said over and over, doesn't it?
We were just having a bit of to and fro on one of our WhatsApp groups about GSs and GS riders. And the thing on the podcast is we always talk about getting the smallest, lightest bike that you can. The reality is we know the GS is a fantastic bike, and I actually admitted in writing I'd actually like to get one at some point and give it a go.
Yeah.
I go the opposite with bikes. I like the bigger the better, basically. Even if it means back when I was trail riding and stuff like that, even if it meant I was sweating my ass off, pulling out of a rut or knackering myself, trying to get it around wherever, I just still love the feel of a big bike. And so I always choose a bigger bike over a smaller bike. But I know that's not a popular opinion amongst trail riders and stuff like that.
Ollie Moto said the same thing a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? He loves his big, he's got a big old 990 KTM, and he says he has far more fun on that.
He's got the talent to back it up as well.
No, he's not. He's always fallen off. He's useless. You only see the good bits in the video.
Creative editing, yeah.
Absolutely. He's not actually been riding off-road that long, I don't think. It's only about 5 years or something like that. But no, I think he's pretty decent, as you say. Best job in the world, do you think?
It's up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there. Pinch us standing in, Monument Valley in Utah, thinking with a bike next to me, sometimes thinking, I'm actually being paid to be here right now, and ride this amazing tour through Utah and Colorado, and it's amazing. It's hard work. Don't get me wrong. To a lot of people, this job is riding bikes constantly all day, every day, and you throw a few words on a page and that's the end of it. But it's more predominantly office-based and long hours, because you got to get the magazine out when the magazine's got to be out. It's funny when we're hiring, if ever we're hiring for a new position, we get a lot of dreamers apply who think on the personal covering letter, it's all about how they love traveling and they'd be very good at traveling and stuff like that. But the reality is it's predominantly office-based. And now with the festival, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, that must be a huge undertaking. I know the people that run the Kendall Mountain Festival, and that's they finish one, celebrate, and pretty much start planning the next one the year afterwards. It's huge.
Exactly. I mean, it feels like it was only yesterday we were packing up from 2021, which is mad. And, to go from, I think it was about 500 people in a field in Banbury for our first ABR Festival in 2018. To go from that to where we are now, where we're expecting anywhere up to 10,000 people this year. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a testament really to the staff in Adventurize, which is the company above Adventure Bike Rider. There's a small but tight knit group of us, and we all work our asses off together. Yeah.
I watched a video with Alan earlier, and he was saying that the first one was actually him and about 6 mates in a field, and he cooked all the burgers.
Yeah, that's it.
Which was great. That was really nice to hear. Yeah, it's just grown from there.
Did COVID give it a bit of a boost? Because it almost felt like people had been bottled up for that year, and then as soon as they were just dying for something like this to attend.
I think so.
And I think it was very well attended, the first one, I think, after the COVID time.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
2019 was the first time we went to Ragley Hall, which is the current venue, and when we started expanding the numbers. So in 2019, the year before COVID, we had an incredible festival, and it was such a high after that people were basically buzzing to get back to it next year. Then obviously it got cancelled, and then it got cancelled for 2020. And then there was the built up demand and pent up desire to do something like you talk about, that it was just a perfect storm basically for 2022.
Yeah.
I think if you remember back, it was, I can't remember the exact dates of the festival last year. I think the last restrictions got eased literally the Monday of the week of the festival. So they unveiled that roadmap for coming out of lockdown, and there was, I can't remember how many stages there was, but the last stage was going to be, if we get to this date, then there's going to be no restrictions and you can all have a happy, fun time. But those dates were not set in stone. They were quite adamant that they can change if need be. So we were planning the festival for last year with half an eye on the fact that the government could turn around and say, you can't host it. So we, in many respects, on a lot of occasions, our hands were tied behind our backs. And it was quite amazing that we managed to get it done. I wasn't actually involved in it last year, but I was sitting on the sidelines watching the guys do it, and they did an awesome job.
Yeah. Are there people then within the magazine whose sole job it is to work on the festival?
Yeah, that's Lucy. Her name is. She's responsible for organising the whole thing. I don't know how she does it. She's amazing.
Well done, Lucy.
Yeah, well done, Lucy, basically. And there's other people that get involved as well. Mandy does a cracking job. Alan also is involved massively in the organising and conceptualising of everything. Becky as well, but Lucy is the mainstay behind it. But then everyone gets involved. From probably next Monday onwards, everyone's going to be all hands on deck getting ready for the festival. We'll go over to Ragley Hall and start pegging out the adventure trail, and it's going to be worth it, though.
Yeah. You always seem to be lucky with the weather.
Yeah, don't mention it. Don't mention it.
You've blown it now, Noel. It's going to piss it down now you said that.
Looking at the forecast, it's going up to the 21st of July at the moment, and the festival is 24th to the 26th. Up to the 21st, it's looking good. Fingers crossed it stays.
Yeah, a good chance.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't decided what bike to ride down yet, but I'm definitely going to come down on a bike rather than the car.
Yeah, you got to.
We always talk about having light is right, but we've got big bikes as well. So I've got a 1050 KTM.
Right.
And obviously coming down from Cumbria to the Midlands, it makes sense to come on that, but then I'll get there and be a big bike wanker.
What's wrong with that?
Well, exactly.
Join the rest of us.
Yeah.
What would you be riding, Noel?
I would probably, because I'm going down to do the Great Western Trail like the 2 days after, so it will be on my little CRF probably.
Right.
Which is fine to travel on. I've been riding like 250 for a few months now, on and off. And I went out on my big bike the other day, and God, it does feel you sort of forget, oh, this is what it's like. So the festival, it's likely to sell out. Well, it will sell out, won't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Well on course to sell out before the event. Trail tickets are actually on course to sell out within the next couple of days. We're limiting the number on the trail. We sent out an email yesterday, I think it was, basically telling people that if you want to get your trail ticket, you got to get it.
For people that don't know, is you're basically going to mark out a 20-kilometre all off-road trail that is big bike capable. So once you're at the festival, you can actually go and have a nice ride out as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Basically, Ragley Hall, the country estate, beautiful stately home on acres and acres and acres of ground. They've let us basically plot out a 20-kilometre course around their grounds, which is really good with them, but even better for you guys because you get to ride it.
How do you stop people like Adam flying around it at breakneck speed?
You can't stop Adam. It's impossible. Don't even try and answer that question. He's a legend.
So there is a speed limit on it.
There is, right?
Yeah, there is a speed limit. I think it's 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check that, but off the top of my head, it's 30 miles an hour. Yeah. And the whole course is marshalled. The most important thing to know about it is it's a leisure riding experience. It's not about racing. It's not about trying to improve your lap time or anything like that. It's all about enjoying riding off-road. And when you're riding on this trail, there are parts of it where you could genuinely be anywhere in the world. There's a part of it which Alan calls Little Canada, because there's this logging trail. You got logs on either side of it. It's through this forest, and you could be a million miles away from Stratford-upon-Avon. It's amazing, and the views are incredible, and it's just a really nice place to be. Yeah. It's not about going fast and trying to beat beat other people around there. It's about enjoying where you are and enjoying using your bike for what they're intended to be used for.
We'll send you a photograph of Adam and his registration number so you can just ban him from doing it.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got onto the festival. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the magazine as well, because obviously Alan started that in 2010. Did you say he'd had a bit of a climbing accident, hadn't he? And
27 years ago, he started a magazine called Adventure Travel Magazine, which was all about hiking, climbing, paddling, mountain biking, about basically being active in the outdoors. And so when I was growing up, we'd go out mountaineering and stuff like that. Every summer we'd go over to the Alps and climb a big mountain. We did Mont Blanc one year, we did the Eiger the year before. We'd spend our summers being really active and getting out there and doing it. And then he'd be writing about it. Basically, he wanted a job that would allow him to travel the world for free. So he started the magazine, and that's what he got. And he did very well at doing it.
Genius.
Yeah. And then I think it was 2009 in Spain, he was on a motorcycle trip and came off. I can't remember how he came off, but he busted up his shoulder maybe, and his leg. And it meant that he couldn't do any of the adventure travel stuff for a while. So he was sat there getting bored and thought, I'll start up another magazine about my other passion, which is motorcycles. And it just so happened to be that there was a perfectly sized gap in the market. Yeah. For a magazine like Adventure Bike Rider. It wasn't too long after Ewan and Charlie had gone around the world, and there was a lot of excitement about upright riding with a little bit of off-road into it. And basically from that, Adventure Bike Rider just snowballed and started off as a website with a forum where my dad was talking to other blokes in Warwickshire about adventure motorbikes, to the first magazine that came out in summer 2010. Originally, it was going to be a quarterly magazine, but after that first magazine, I think we sold out in no time. And we thought, well, we're onto something here. We've got to make this bi-monthly and get it out. And we're coming up to issue 70 now. So we've put a lot of issues out, and every single one, it seems like it's getting stronger. It's I know I would say that, but it genuinely feels like the community is getting stronger every time. And yeah, it's amazing. The passion that people have for adventure motorcycling and the passion that people have for the magazine off the back of that is it's humbling, really.
Well, I made a note that the festival has pretty much become the de facto event for trail and adventure riders.
Do you know what we were thinking with the ABR Festival is basically we were looking at these events like the MCN Showdown at the XL in London and Motorcycle Live in the NEC, and they're all about, you know, riding your bike and having a great time and enjoying motorcycling, but you're all getting packed into these halls where everyone shuffles around these corridors, basically looking at products to buy.
I think a lot of people go to the bike show and then kind of think, well, I'll miss next year, and then go perhaps, you know, go the year after or 2 years after. It's not something you really want to go to every year.
A lot of people, isn't it? It's a habit.
Yeah.
But we wanted to give people something where it's all about going there and participating. And so when you come to the Adventure Bike Rider Festival, yes, we've got trade stands, but there is also so much else going on. And it's all, once you're in there, it's free. We don't rip you off once you're in there. You know, you want to go and see a talk in the masterclass tent, you want to go and learn how to, you know, pick up your bike or something, it's free. If you want to go and ride with the off-road schools to get Simon Pavey to teach you something in particular, it's free. Once you're in there, it's all included. We had to put a charge on the adventure trail because basically to cover the cost of reclamation and repairs after it, because, you know, get that many bikes going around the trail costs a lot of money in terms of putting it right afterwards, because we can't just leave it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all about participation and respecting people who come, making it a good time.
Yeah.
Getting back to the magazine, so it's 6 editions a year, is that right?
Yeah.
So how do you get hold of the magazine? Because I think there's a number of ways you can get it, isn't there?
So just on the website now. So just on www.adventurebikerider.com. You can subscribe for the year, where you get 6 issues delivered to you, or you can buy each issue individually. And amazingly, we've been selling out of just about every copy recently, which is brilliant.
So the decision to come out of the newsagents and the WH Smiths, was it that just not working anymore? Did that seem like an old model that was
essentially, yeah, but it was something that was highlighted. A spotlight was shown on that by the pandemic. We were in WH Smith's and various other independent news agents, and obviously they got closed during the pandemic. And For a lot of magazines, where they sell the most of their magazines is in WH Smith travel stores, in airports, train stations. Nobody was traveling.
Yeah.
So these news agents, not selling magazines.
No, so you're at the mercy of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also costs, there's a lot of waste in sending magazines to these news agents. And we thought, while the pandemic's on, we'll stop doing that and we'll just sell directly from our website, market the magazine on Facebook and email marketing and stuff like that. Let people know when a new issue is out and that they can buy it from the website for the same price. We didn't really know what to expect, but what we didn't expect was for sales to go up and for us to sell out of every issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was proved to be a far more efficient and effective way of selling the magazine. There's definitely some people that miss going into a news agent and flicking through a magazine before they buy it, but I think the world's changing.
I was just thinking about deadlines. It's been going all this time. Is it still as tough to meet the deadline each time?
Yeah.
Is it?
Every time.
That never changes.
No, and do you know what? You talk to guys from MCN or Bike or Ride. Bike and Ride are monthly titles, and MCN is a weekly, and I think, how on earth do they meet those deadlines? We're bi-monthly, and it still seems like the last 2 weeks of every other month is a nightmare to try and get everything done.
You seem to encourage readers to produce articles and send things into you. Do you still do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The stories from our readers are basically the bread and butter of it. It's the format of the magazine. The central bit of it is travel features from people who are out there and doing it. Occasionally we'll write them ourselves, but more often than not, it's freelance contributors or regular readers who go out and want to be featured in the magazine. One of our key messages is that you don't need to be a professional writer or journalist or whatever to write a story about where you've been, what you've been doing. A story about going to the Alps for the first time is just as inspiring and just as enjoyable to read as it is for someone who's tearing it up down, in the Andes in South America or so. And if you can, string a few sentences together, usually we can work a bit of magic on it and make it read.
I used to love those sort of articles. Before you've done a trip like that, you're really looking to see, well, how did that guy do that? And what do you really need to do it? And they are very inspirational, as you say. Even the most sort of basic article about a trip abroad, if you've not done it, it's a huge help, isn't it?
Exactly. And I want to stress that I think online in particular, there is a bit of a weird sort of elitist mentality between, you didn't travel far enough, therefore you're not on an adventure, or you're riding this bike, that's not an adventure bike. It's quite a cliche now, but genuinely any bike is an adventure bike and any trip is an adventure. It doesn't matter if it's not an adventure to guys sat next to you. Yeah. If you enjoyed it and you had a good time and you felt like an adventure, you're on an adventure. For most people, getting across the channel is a big adventure.
One of my first trips was sort of an island hopping trip around the Outer Hebrides, and we ended up going down, the length of Lewis and onto Harris and stuff. And that still stands out as one of the best trips I've ever done. Yeah,
definitely. Some places in the UK can feel just as out there and adventurous as other places. Probably my favourite place to ride is Scotland. And in the winter, I don't really like it in the summer. In the winter, it's got to be winter.
You like it in winter?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? That's so strange. Is it not?
Better views.
Better views. Yeah. Less midges.
Less views. I think the Scottish mountains with snow on them just look,
Oh, that's interesting.
Amazing. So atmospheric. Right. And I've got a bit of a thing for arduous, miserable. Some of the best rides I've had have been up there in February time. Yeah. Because there's no one up there, and you get to ride through, the A82 through Glencoe. Yeah. The most beautiful road in the world.
Yeah. And the views are still there. They don't go away, do they? And if there is snow, the mountains look totally different, don't they? If they've got some snow on them. Yeah, they stand out more.
They look so atmospheric, just more epic, and there's no one around. Perfect.
But I hear through working with the TRF recently that you guys are also very supportive of the TRF.
Well, they do so much for us and riders who share our same values, basically. Yeah, we're excited for them to be coming to the festival this year and having their event at the ABR Festival. So they've got their own section of the ABR Festival for TRF members with their own stage. I think they've got some food lined up for you guys in the evening.
Hog roast.
That's it, a hog roast. At the festival, we have guided ride-outs around the green lanes around Ragley Hall, and the TRF are instrumental in that, because without their knowledge and their organisation, a lot of these lanes wouldn't be open anymore.
Yeah, I think it's just really important. I can't help myself. I always wade in onto conversations online about why people should join the TRF, and we'll get nothing from our 50 quid. It's like, no, you do. You get so much for your contribution to keeping the lanes open and maintained and legal and all that kind of amazing stuff that volunteers all do. So it's just, yeah, kudos to Adventure Bike Rider for giving them that support. It's great.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, the thanks should be going to the TRF. They're the guys who do it.
So let's talk a little bit more about the type of thing that's going to be at the festival. So I've got a list of things written down. So do you want to talk us? I mean, bands. There's music and beer.
If you just want to come and get drunk and listen to music, you're going to be in it. Basically, we want to build on the festival every year. We don't just want to have the same event going every year and it gets stale or what have you. We want to keep giving you guys something new, something exciting to do every year. And this year we've really upped the ante on the bands. So before we'd have a bit of live music in the evenings. This time we've got some of the UK's best tribute bands playing from, I think it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday and Saturday, all the way through to 11 o'clock at night on the main stage. And the main stage is going to be epic. It's massive. It's going to be really cool. It's like a proper music festival.
Wow.
I think we got... So if you want to watch, I think it's Oasis, The Who, U2, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Status Quo.
This is a great idea.
Yeah. AC/DC. And then in the evening, the last bands in the evening are Detroit Soul and a band called the Texan Peacocks. And they're just full-on party bands, basically.
I am a real music snob, but I actually saw that lineup, and I think as I've got older, I've mellowed a bit, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's going to be good fun.
That's it. That's the reaction we want. I think basically my dad was thinking, what music would I like to listen to when I'm there? I can't wait to see Coda, who are the Led Zeppelin tribute band. I'm going to make sure I'm not working then so I can listen to them.
I used to race with John Bonham's son when I was a kid. Because I'm from the Midlands, yeah. Worley Wasps Schoolboy Scrambling Club. Okay. Jason Bonham was a member, and he used to. This is in one of the first podcasts we did, I think. Jason used to turn up. He was the only person that had 2 bikes, and he had a fully enclosed trailer that matched their black Range Rover. And I remember riding back to the pits one time, and Jason's dad got in my way, and I ended up in a ditch, and he was really apologetic and helped me pull my bike out the ditch. And my brother got back. He was going, "You spoke to John Bonham?" I went, "Yeah, Jason's dad. Yeah." He went,
Jason's dad.
I had no idea who he was.
No idea.
No, I just knew he was rich because Jason had 2 bikes. And Jason was quite short at the time. He had the foam cut out of his seat, and he could only just about reach the floor. And he quite often used to domino us at the start and knock us all over. That was a very long time ago. Excellent. So we've got music, and then we've got things that are going on during the day, like the masterclass sessions. There's a bit of a film festival, and there's some photography stuff as well.
And we've got, I think it's over 40 different guest speakers across 5 stages. So there's the Tenere speaker stage, which is the main headliner speaker stage, where we've got people like Ted Simon and Elspeth Beard are coming along to talk, and various others. Then there is the Harley Davidson campfire tent, which is a more intimate area where guys will sit and talk about their adventures and where they've been, what they've been doing. That's hosted by Simon and Lisa Thomas of To Ride the World. Great guys, if you've ever met them. They'd be good to go on here, actually. They've got some incredible stories. Lovely people as well. Really nice people. Then there's the masterclass tent, where you can learn stuff, essentially. It's TED Talks almost. Then there is the Ducati stage. So Ducati have got a stage on their stand where they got Carl Fogarty's going to be there. Anton Mio, who is a French enduro rider.
Yeah. Know him well.
Have you seen the pictures of the Ducati Desert X being ridden in the desert? That's him, basically, tearing it up. And then there is the TRF stage, where the TRF got a full schedule of speakers across the 2 days of the weekend. With some really interesting looking sessions going on there. So, yeah, 40 speakers across 5 stages. Then there is up in the Great Hall. So the Great Hall of Ragley is a magnificent country home. Up there's the Adventure Photography Exhibition. There is also Austin Vince's Film Festival, where you can go and sit down and watch some incredible adventure motorcycle films. And there is also a classic adventure and trail bike concourse.
I didn't know about that. That sounds great. We like motorbikes, don't we? Us lot. Food and drink wise, you've got lots of food and drink stands, and people can bring their own, or they can.
So many food and drink stands. I love food and drink, and it's probably the most exciting part of the festival. Last year, if you went last, did you go? You guys went last year, didn't
No.
you? Oh, first time. Well, I won't mention that last year there were queues then.
Or maybe we can talk about the improvements this year.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned a while back, when we were producing last year's festival, we were doing it under the guise that we might not have a festival at all because the government might say you can't have it. So all these caterers that we hired were operating under pretty strict conditions of, how much stock do we get? What do we do if we can't do it? We don't want to buy a shitload of stock and then not be able to sell it. Everyone was operating with hands tied behind their back. And what it led to was longer than expected queues at the food and catering stands. And the bar there was long queue there, basically. People talked about that quite a bit after the event. They were right. There was long queues. There's nothing we can't deny that. There were long queues. Addressing those issues and sorting out the queues has been our number one priority for this festival this year. And so we've increased the amount of caterers by a huge amount. So there's going to be 50 different caterers there, all doing different things. There's such a variety of food available, and there's going to be 7 bars this time. I think last year there were 2 bars, maybe 3. This year there's going to be 7, and the main one is 40 meters long. So there'll be no issues this year.
Oh yeah, it's me. I'm back again. The festival has sold out this year, so if you haven't got tickets, you're not going to be able to get in. I think the lightweights still have some tickets available, so come to that one instead. It's as much fun at the very least. Right, if I can get my editing head back on, normal service will be resumed next week. Possibly only gives me a couple of evenings to edit the next episode, which you have in the bag. So forgive me if there isn't one next week, but I will do my damnedest. All right, if I don't see you at the weekend, see you next time.
Thanks for listening. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you really appreciate what we do, you could consider supporting us on Patreon or buy us a coffee. Links are available on our website, which is tampodcast.com, tampodcast.com, where we also have a limited selection of branded stuff. But either way, please keep listening and spreading the word. See you next time.